Hey there, everybody, and welcome to today's live broadcast. I am here to take your questions about COVID, about coping with quarantine, about depression and anxiety, whatever is on your mind right now. I know a lot of people are really struggling to um, sustain this ongoing, whatever we call it, quarantine or self-isolation or whatever it is. Can't quite get that camera right. Here in Tennessee just got our first shelter at home or shelter in place or whatever it is. We were told to stay home today. And as a result, our internet at my office went down because everybody's on it. So I am broadcasting using the satellite from the farm down here in the basement. But it's all good. I am glad to be here. I am glad to be able to take your questions, do whatever I can to help make this a little bit more tolerable for you. So as usual, I'm just going to ad-lib a little bit while I am waiting to see if you have any questions. Anxiety comes from a place of threat, comes from a place of fear, but so does anger. So a lot of us are experiencing periods of anxiety and anger, and I encourage you to pay attention to how you're feeling and make sure that you're eating well, that you're still getting good hydration, that you're getting some sunlight. It is a gorgeous sunny day here in Middle Tennessee, so that makes it a little bit more doable. After I get finished with this, I'm probably going to go out and do some yard work, but it's important to do what you can. Hey there, Kung Pao. Oh, come here, babies. Come here, babies. You are never shy. KP. Come here. Come here. The people want to say hi. The people want to say hi. This is one of my foster kitties. This is Kung Pao. She's very, very sweet. I guess she doesn't like being on TV. So anyway, what was I saying before I saw kitty? Oh, it's important to take good care of yourself right now and make sure you're doing things every day that will help you feel happy. When we're dealing with coronavirus, I also want you to remember, and you can go to the CDC website and look at the data for what they call the burden of influenza or the influenza burden. For the past, like 10 years, they have data. And every year, people die by the tens of thousands because of the flu, not because of COVID-19, but because of the flu. A couple of years ago, it was as high as like 65,000 people died because of the flu, and we didn't even think twice about it. I'm not trying to minimize what's going on right now, but I'm trying to point out that we do deal with this on an annual basis. So hopefully some of the lessons that we're learning right now are things that we're going to carry with us into the future years. So we have a lower mortality rate with the flu, and we are able to stay healthier and happier as a nation. I'm wondering, what kinds of lessons we're learning that we can take with us. In a broadcast that I just did a little while ago, people were talking about the fact that, they had always resisted doing FaceTime or those sorts of things with their friends who were in other places in lieu of, they wanted to be in the same room. And since we can't do that right now, they're actually, doing that and finding that it is not nearly as impersonal as, they originally thought. Obviously, YouTube streams are kind of impersonal because we're not talking back and forth. I can't see you. But doing something like FaceTime or Snapchat or Zoom meetings, Skype. There are a lot of different options you have to connect with somebody and see their face, see the sparkle in their eyes. Now, remember, I will be doing these broadcasts live every weekday as much as possible at 2 p.m. So if you do have questions, you can log in any day at 2 p.m. and I will have a live stream going, assuming the internet's not down. Like I said, today we kind of had to piece some things together to try to make it happen from the farm, but I managed to make it happen. So I am here for you. I do want to hear from you and understand what's going on in your corner of the world. Here in rural Middle Tennessee, the experience of social distancing and COVID-19 and everything that's going on is very different than the experience people are having in New York or Miami or Detroit. So, please feel free, log in. Let me know what you're doing. How are you surviving this? Even if you don't have questions, you don't want to ask anything, let me know what strategies are you using in order to cope with being on isolation, quarantine, whatever you want to call it. Some quick tips before, I sign off. In order to help you cope with your anxiety and stay healthy and happy, it's important to do something that makes you happy every day. It's also important to ask yourself, if you find yourself getting exceptionally frustrated or irritable, take a moment and figure out why that is. It could be that maybe you tend to be more of an introvert and there's just so much going on and so much noise all the time right now. You just, you need some quiet time. For me, when you think about temperament, I tend to be on the really structured side. And so for my routine to be disrupted makes me a little bit bonkers. And it's been important for me to maintain my routine as much as possible, getting up about the same time, working out. I can't go to the gym, but I can still run. I can still ride the stationary bike, and do as much as I can to try to keep it as normal as possible in terms of my routine. Make sure that I'm eating a healthy diet and not just sitting at home binge watching TV all day long. Focus on things that can help you understand what's going on. Get facts. Go to the CDC website. Go to the World Health Organization website to get the facts about what's going on. Don't rely on mainstream media, because unfortunately, we're seeing over and over and over again, they benefit from fear mongering. They want to make headlines that make you click on them. They are trying, and what do you click on? You click on headlines that are anxiety provoking. If they say that there's some catastrophe, you may click on it to figure out what it is and how to stay safe. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Try to limit your exposure to the news, because some of this stuff, there is just nothing you can do about it right now. And it's important to use your energy and focus on things that you do have control over. What is it that you can control right now? If you are feeling a little bit stir crazy, what is it that you can do in order to feel less so? Can you start working on, training for some new certification? Can you learn a hobby? Can you go out on a walk? Can you, if it's allowed in your area, some people are just hopping in the car and doing like we used to do back in the 70s and just going on a drive to nowhere, but a drive just to get out. You don't stop anywhere because, you don't want to violate that social distancing or anything. But some people are just going on a drive. And in a way, that kind of helps the economy, because our fuel consumption has been so low lately that, the energy stocks are really feeling that. So, We do have better air right now since fewer people are driving. So you might go out and like breathe deep, practice yoga, practice meditation, go outside and practice mindfulness. So you can take your kids outside and you can tell them, have them sit down, or you can just do it if you don't have kids, whatever, and notice 5 things that you see. To make it even more challenging, you can notice, what are 5 brown things that you see? 4 things that you hear. Listen for the wind, listen for the cars, listen for the birds, whatever it is that you have in your area. 3 things that you smell. And sometimes you can smell the air, sometimes you can smell flowers, and you may have to walk around a little bit to find things that you can smell, but finding things that you can smell can make you happy. 2 things that you can feel, like the sun's heat on your arm or the wind, and 1 thing that you can taste. And I'm not advocating for just picking up anything and eating it. If you live on a farm, then, you know, right now I've got asparagus coming up. So that's one of those things that we have right now. But practicing mindfulness, encouraging your kids to practice mindfulness can be really awesome right now. It's a great time to spend time together. The whole family can go outside and find 10 green things and then compare notes and see who found what and how many green things did you as a family actually see. Okay, if nobody has any questions, I am going to go ahead and log off, but I will be back on Monday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care.